there was just a sense that there's one thing going on. And every tradition was formed through history, culture, time on the planet, just the conditions that were current in that time and place. But it seemed as if everything that I was reading, everything that I was receiving, and I had some beautiful, wonderful teachers in my time, the same thing was discovered. It was all the same thing. I used to just call it the golden threads. I didn't know what else it was. So my husband and I had discovered what was called an Advaita or non-dual teacher, Jean Klein. And he verbalized and described, plus transmitted, this one being, the one spirit, the God, but having nothing to do with the historical God that we were taught about. And then that sort of opened that up and made it stronger, and due to different influences, we sort of dedicated ourselves for some years to the Dzogchen, the Tibetan path. But again, it's just one thing. There's one spirit. There's one being. It's totally interconnected, and there's nothing that's not. That was the song that kept singing in my being since a tiny child. So when we put out this prayer, and we did, my husband and I put out this very heartfelt, deep prayer, and asked for the teacher or the guide that would allow us to not long for it or have experiences that seem to come and go, but to actually live from that. And within a very short period of time, we received some information in the mail, and it was about a conference called the Inner Directions in California. And we packed our bags and went out to California for, I don't know how many times we'd been to California to receive beautiful teachings. And the moment we read anything that Ajahn said, and the moment we saw him, it was a total love affair and devotion and dedication, total. There wasn't an ounce, an nth of, well, I wonder if we should do that, well, it's going to cost us a lot of money, and it was just like, yes. And both my husband and I had our own very deep resonance and unique way of experiencing that recognition. So I would say here, and I have great respect for the different traditions, the different teachers of traditions. I've read libraries of books of different teachers and traditions across the world. But here, it's that one spirit that interconnects and unites us all, that mysteriously arises from this deep sense of still essence, the root essence. And again, it just, through meditation, that stillness began to present itself. I didn't know what it was. It was, the Buddhists call it the void, or, it wasn't very appealing, frankly. And it just appeared. And I didn't have a teacher even that could tell me exactly what it was. But it knew itself. And something here recognized it knew itself. And it was starting to shine through this life. So over a long period of time, really several years, that deep, still, dark root essence began to just reveal itself until there was an immersion in it. It wasn't like it was over here or down here or up here, or it just, the whole body was like swimming and immersed in it. And one of the first questions I asked Adyashanti, our teacher, was, what about the dark? And he just went, there. And that was it. So I don't know how to describe the difference. I certainly, I have no hierarchy or ideas about how individuals should or should not go to this tradition or that teacher or whatever. It's really, it's the unique journey. But here, it ended up not being defined as Advaita, non-dual. I have no definition. It's direct, it's experiential, it's living life in this body, in the role that you're living this body, and it is as available here, whatever it is we're doing, traffic, grocery shopping, talking to our children, our lover, our friend, as it is on a mountain in a cave. Though I do for myself and highly encourage people who are waking up to this experiential sameness, this being that we all share, is to remove yourself from life periodically and go deep and not distracted and just simply abide, not meditation techniques so much. I mean, they help train the attention, but there's a certain point where you give up absolutely every technique you have ever received and just come back experientially and rest deeply and be filled and renewed and informed from the direct experience of your own nature. And to me, that's what meditation is. And that's what meditation retreats are all about here. And that's what I attempt to convey for those who are interested in what I call the direct way, the direct experience of who you are. And the human is as included as where there's a complete disappearance and there's no human, there's no self, there's no nothing. And that full spectrum is where I live and where fundamentally we all do. So it's both quite, my influences are quite traditional. I have a tremendous respect for the lineages, for the teachers, for what has brought them to this freedom and recognition. And at the same instant, I'm not bound by any tradition and any particular prescribed way. And my teacher supports that. So it's like a foundation, but then you are free to be uniquely what comes through you in that stable foundation called the lineage and the ground that we all share.